Welcome back to my channel. What I've got here is now the cylinder head back on. Now, one of my previous videos, I was trying to put the head back on and I had two of the head bolts snap on me. So this is attempt number 2. All new head bolts, and we're now pretty much in place, ready to torque it down. So nothing's changed in terms of the process that I covered in my first video. So once I've got this torqued down, then I'll be able to start working on putting the glow plugs, the injectors in, all that kind of good stuff. And okay, we've had some success finally. That's now torqued down nicely. I've also done the valve clearances. Kind of got carried away and just started doing those. So it's not difficult. I've got a video on how I set those valves anyway, but I just kind of checked it with that. Basically rule of 9, and now she's all set. So next steps are, I think I'm going to tackle the injector and glow plugs side of things before I get to the manifolds. So I'll start preparing those, and but again, very simple, reverse of putting them in. I'm just going to put them in with their appropriate new washers. These things here you do not over tighten. These nuts on the studs there, you don't over tighten those. It's just nice and gentle, and yeah, nothing much to it. So I'll continue on with doing that. Simple as that, just screw those in progress now. Got the glow plugs now all in. Just got a wide here for the moment. I'll have to position that somewhere when I start running the engine as a test. So these ones down here, so they're all nice and firmly in position now. Alright, so the next thing is to look at putting the injectors in. And the injectors have 2 washers. I'm going to have to clean these up. And of course I dropped one. But effectively the washer, the little one, has to have the profile facing the injector. So it sits inside like that into the injector housing. So you've got one of the washers that goes on the top here, and the other one sits inside the chamber, as I said, and it'll fit. See if I can get you a clearer picture. It'll fit that way. Okay, I've got one of the copper ones in there. All I decided to do was just place them in there gently. And for the tiny ones, I just effectively used a pencil, put them on the edge of the pencil, and just gently drop them down there. So, but do have some kind of a pick or something like that ready, so that way you can fish them out if they go the other way. So I'll continue putting the other 2 copper washers in, and then I'll remove the nuts, ready to put the injectors in. So it's as simple as that. It's just literally a few minutes later they're in. I haven't tightened them down yet, but I will. Next thing I'm going to do now is take all the fittings off the top of the injectors and start lining them up, ready to fit the line on top of the injectors here. Again, only take a few minutes. Right, so everything now is tightened down. Injectors, injector connectors, obviously the glow plugs and all that. So I'm just going to leave this side as is now, and I'm going to now work on this side, and all this is just basically putting in the exhaust manifold and the inlet manifold. Not too complex there, just gaskets and away we go. Oh, it's starting to look like a motor now. All that's in there, bolted in nicely. I had cleaned these units up beforehand, so they were pretty much ready to bolt in. So again, that was just a simple task of a gasket and so on, nothing difficult there. Now I'm going to start working on the thermostat housing, which I've got all in here, including the thermostat. Carried away a bit, forgot to film. So I just took this out of the 109 just to route it at the moment. I'm going to set up at the heater unit later on, but for running a bit of a test, I'll just use that. Pretty much, I think everything is very close to cranking. I'm just going to double check the oil levels, and the next thing I'll do after I've prepped the engine is to actually put the radiator out front and cut up. So it's getting exciting. Of course, I've got to do the fuel assembly as well. Got to tidy that up too. Alright, so I've just rigged up the radiator, so I've got a little bit of protection there, so it's actually quite sturdy. Of course, with the vibration of the motors and other things, so I'm going to have to be cautious when I try to crank it anyway, at least initially, and also on stop. But there you go, it's a complete motor once again after all this time. I can tell you it's a relief, that's for sure. I don't think I've forgotten anything. Oh, geez, I hope not. It'll be a last minute oil check. Then I've got to fuel the radiator and engine with water. I'm just going to use standard water at the moment because I will drain it out again. And it's fresh oil in there, so pretty much, aside from potential coolant leaks, etc., as you get when you first put the hoses in and so on, but hopefully she should be right. Anyway, I'll leave the startup of the motor for another video, so sorry for not being able to film everything in great detail as I usually do, but once I was on a roll, I was on a roll, so, but I'm glad to have gotten this far.